Tēnā koutou katoa. Thanks to Hort New Zealand for having me today. I got the call up on Sunday night to step in and help, so please go easy on me. I'm Brigit Corson and I lead produce and butchery for Foodstuffs North Island. And I'll let you in on a little secret. Produce is actually my favourite. I grew up in a family that was close to a produce market floor in Gizzy and a vegetable seeds business. So stepping into our fresh produce DC takes me immediately back to the smell of fresh produce and visiting the banana rooms on a Saturday morning with my dad when Mum wanted to get us out of the house. So horticulture has great aspirations for New Zealand and the context is usually export-led growth. So today is an opportunity to talk New Zealand produce and our New Zealand supply chain and an opportunity to keep it local. So Foodies is a New Zealand business with local families owning each store. We've been serving New Zealand communities for more than 104 years. The facts are that we're a cooperative of 300 Pack and Save New World and Foursquare local business owners and each family with one store, but sharing the support centre scale. Our grocers got together in 1922 to overcome New Zealand's lack of scale to share supply chain and back-end costs. It's a model that will sound familiar to many people in this room. And like many successful New Zealand co-ops, we've learned that scale is not just about efficiency, it's about resilience, the ability to share, support, invest, adapt and continue serving customers through changing conditions. So this is our owner-operator from Foursquare Onehunga, Alex Gage Brown, with her husband Will and their children Cooper and Tilly. Alex opened the store 3 years ago. She has a background in FMCG, startups and worked in our co-op for several years, including a couple of years completing our owner-operator training program. Alex's story is inspiring and an example of many of our owner-operators who have taken opportunities, taken a big risk and stepped into owning and running their own business. So let's get into it. Grocery is one of the largest consumer markets in the world. It's worth around US $14 trillion annually, and that's bigger than automotive or telecommunication, and it's actually probably bigger than Elon Musk, depending on how his SpaceX shares are doing today. And it's bigger than most industries we traditionally associate with scale and transformation. And it's not often well understood. Our stores can be seen as simply the end point. But I want to suggest something different. Grocery is not the end of the end, and it's the beginning of the feedback that we gather and receive customer insight. It's the point where produce meets real human behaviour. So each week, we process about 5.3 million customer transactions. That's 5.3 million expressions of demand, 5.3 million decisions about the price, preference, habit, constraint and choice. And when you see that level of behavioural data consistently over time, you begin to see more than just retail patterns. You see how New Zealanders are living, and that's changing, and that gives us a particular responsibility, not just to serve customers well today, but to understand where demand is heading and what that means through the supply chain. New Zealand customers have more choice than ever before. So what do we know about what our customers want, how they are faring at the moment, and why is it important to everyone in this room today? So we are seeing signals of stress. 443,000 New Zealanders are behind on their debt repayments. That's actually down 30,000 from April. The cost of groceries is their biggest concern at 73%, but that's actually down 6% from last year. And the cost of petrol is second at 58%. So that continues to go up as we see the state of uncertainty at the moment. The state of the economy, customers concerned about that, 36%, and inflation 25%. 63% of Kiwis are in a precarious financial position. And 54% expect their position to worsen over the next 12 months. 34% saying they're cutting back on meat, and 17% say that they're cutting back on eating produce. Now, 2 to 3 years ago, they were the same, And as we've seen the escalating price of meat and really fair produce prices, we've seen that produce metric come down. So we're seeing a big shift in how customers are shopping towards budget and value behaviours. So 53% of our customers identify as a budget shopper. So that means they've got no more to spend. So if it's $100, they can't flex outside that. And 36% are value shoppers, which means they've got some flexibility in their wallet and they can take advantage of deals and multi-buys, for example. So customers are selecting lowest price product from their preferred range. They're buying whatever brand is on promotion. They're buying in bulk if they can, and choosing larger sizes which means better value, and driving private label growth. We're also seeing smaller baskets and switching between stores. So customers are definitely spending more carefully. But they're not missing out on all the treats. So a better block of chocolate, keeping the haircut in the budget, or maybe a meat treat. Little things that make a difference. So let's test the theory. Who has tried the Whittaker's Goody Goody Gumdrop chocolate? Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. It's actually quite good. It's kind of green, but don't let that put you off. It tastes like Milky Bar, and then the Goody Goody Gumdrops are quite kind of chewy in the middle for those who are thinking about it next time they're in the supermarket. So value isn't about cheap anymore, but whether every dollar feels like it's done its best job, and it's about intentional spending. People haven't stopped spending. They're thinking much harder about every dollar. So what are our customers telling us? When we look across our nearly 60 billion data points through our partnership with data science company dunnhumby, 3 clear shifts are standing out. Growing cultural and ethnic diversity. So for our customers, durian was up 10,000% over the last 12 months in our stores. So demand is not just metro stores. We're seeing that across the North Island. Health and wellbeing is changing shopping behaviour. So the rise of GLP-1 medications is a good example. Roughly 30 to 50 million people globally are using GLP-1 drugs, and this has consequences, and I'll talk to a little about that later. And that demand for convenience. So convenience is evolving across all categories. So people are changing what they want. This is where the structural change is most visible, because what matters is not the shift itself, but the downstream effects. When appetite changes, the entire system needs to adjust, and that includes horticulture, manufacturing, logistics, as well as retail. The challenge is no longer simply producing more food, it's producing the food people will choose when they behave differently. So let's talk about the rise of GLP-1 medications, because it's a great example. So by GLP-1s, for those who are unfamiliar with them, we're talking about Wegovy, Ozempic, and those weight loss drugs. In a PwC study with a 100,000 panel, 14% of households were using them. Grocery spending declined by 6 to 8% within 12 months when a GLP-1 user was the primary purchaser in the household. And total household spending fell 2 to 3%, so I think there were a few other treats going in there. What's super interesting to me is that full-service restaurant use actually rose, because it was about being more social, more experiential, and really intentional eating, so that intention coming through again. So these results indicate a huge shift is coming as penetration rises in New Zealand, because currently it's less than 1%. So what we're also seeing is secondary effects. So in the United States, analysts have suggested lighter airline passengers could save airlines around US $580 million a year in fuel costs. So lots of different things coming in there. So protein is still hot. So protein fortification has moved into everyday snacks, whether that be muesli bars, baked goods, cereals and yogurts. Shoppers are choosing passive protein, easy gains without changing the eating habits. And so what are customers wanting out of that? They're wanting satieties to stay full for longer, energy between meals, that weight management, GLP-1 link, and with that, there's also becoming a preference for high fibre and easy digestion. So non-starchy vegetable like broccoli and cabbage, pre-cut veg, and recession recipes with kind of short ingredients. So this is a roast cabbage steak, for those of you who are wondering what it is. And cooked veg is actually being preferred over raw. So it's easier for digestion, and so pre-cut stir-fry veg, roast-ready trays, and other quick cook formats, anything that can be air-fried, if you've got a teenager, you know that, is really, really popular. And so we're moving away from those large bowls of salads and the high-sugar fruit alone. And so why are these trends taking off? It's really practical, right? So tighter grocery budgets, reduced appetite, and the need to feel fuller for longer. They're convenient, so high protein, short ingredient lists, often designed for one pan, one portion, or one person households. And that GLP-1 influence around protein and smaller serves is being felt across all of the market. So what matters for us in fresh? It's that protein becomes the anchor and that produce supports that trend. And there's also the shift in from meal occasions. So from big aspirational meals towards more snack meals more often. So as we adapt, the organisations that succeed will be those that can adapt quickly, maintain trust and continue delivering when conditions are difficult. And that requires stronger collaboration across the whole value chain. Across all of this, one theme consistently stands out, which is trust. So trust isn't one of many factors in food choice, but the condition that allows other factors like price, quality and convenience to matter. And for us, fresh really matters. Why, you ask? Because all our insights tell us if we don't win fresh, we don't win the customer. If the produce isn't fresh or the meat isn't right, you may not shop with us again. Customers buy produce 3 times a week. It's a classic top-up shop. Fruit for school lunches or extra salad for dinner. And we're really fortunate in New Zealand that our supply chain is relatively short and we get, in general, great fresh produce. So you want to trust that you're going to get that produce every time you go to the store, and that the produce is exceptionally fresh. We've spent a lot of time focusing on reliable supply and our key value items, as well as quality. So customers notice if bananas are more expensive or the broccoli is yellow. We capture this monthly through a customer tracking, and stores are measured on their customer promises. So loyal customers buy more fresh items and are loyal because of fresh. And we want to ensure great quality products are available all the time and that customers know and can rely on the price for these products. So customers get this information as they shop and make decisions such as substituting to other products based on freshness, price or availability. And each store can decide to purchase from my team or at alternative channels, including local growers. So our customers love to see the local strawberry farm or lettuce on shelf, but this has made it more difficult to deliver more comprehensive grower commitment programs. And I know we've received feedback about that from growers. But what we have done is started to move into a crop commitment program. So our grower commitment program is quite a change for foodies. We've needed to adapt how we're doing things and working with growers differently through committed volumes and leaning into collaborating together and sharing our volumes to enable better planning. So Pack and Save still want to be able to access different market deals. And so they've committed 80% of their supply and New World 100%. And we've rolled this out in our cauliflower and cabbage categories. And we also have some RFPs in the market for other categories as well at the moment. So broccoli, melons, corn. We commit to berries in New World. So there's quite a lot going on, and we've also rolled this out for grapes, our first imported product. So how does this benefit our suppliers and growers? It's about keep growing in confidence by sharing our demand and enabling less waste, enabling better planning and investment horizons, and recognising that we're aligned to get great produce to New Zealanders. And also knowing there'll be sometimes be bumps in the road, but working it through together is actually the best path. So what does success look like? The outcome has been reliable supply, consistent quality, and stable and competitive pricing. And we've continued, as I said, to roll out categories with buy-in from our stores and even stepped into those imported lines such as grapes. So how do we bring this all together? Grocery is a real-time feedback system for New Zealand's food economy. The opportunity for produce is not just volume growth, it is staying relevant to what customers actually want. Every day in New Zealand, millions of grocery decisions are made, and each decision is a signal about price, preference and supply. And over time, when you aggregate those signals, you begin to see where the system is heading. So our opportunity is to get better at reading those signals together. Because in many ways, we're all connected to the same system. We are your customers and you are our critical partners, and we all serve those same customers. So when we get really good at listening to each other and reading those signals from our customers, we'll be able to adapt to the changing behaviour. And ultimately, we'll get New Zealanders consuming more fruit and veg, which is actually great for all of us. Thanks so much.